and welcome to Demystifying AI. We have our hosts here, the Black Girls in AI, Jessica Winter Martin and Shell.
Okay.
And we are going to be talking about, we're just going to be getting over real basics. What is AI? First trying to, because people are scared. They're all stressed out. They think AI is coming for their job.
I think it is.
I think you lying. I think you full of it. You want people to know better, but it's not going to happen.
Thought it was, girl.
I mean, if it was coming for your job, you wouldn't be. So it's like clearly AI is not going for anybody's job.
Because we're here.
Because we're here, y'all. And in fact, we have another job doing this podcast because of AI. So let me start real simple. What is AI? So let me ask you, Shel, what do you think of when you hear it?
So when I initially first heard of AI, I just thought about like robots and technology, of course, obviously. But more so, like I thought it was definitely going to take over.
You were thinking of Skynet.
It was.
I mean, it's coming for us.
Listen, because it's AI, and then you watch too many movies, so it's like.
So y'all, as we learned, stop watching movies.
For sure.
Watch Sinners if you're watching this recently, or watch it again. Watch Sinners again. No AI in that. Just the white man being the devil. But so AI actually is teaching machines.
Okay.
AI is just teaching machines or having a program act like a human being.
Okay.
So it's just doing something that people would do.
Okay.
Like a super simple example is like curation or recommendations, right? So you might ask you like, what's a movie I should watch, right? Your Netflix does that. Spotify does that when it recommends a playlist. So it doesn't replace the DJ.
No.
But it kind of takes on one little task of the DJ.
Like that enhanced.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or it lets you kind of like, instead of hiring a DJ to literally just do a playlist and leave, you really could just have your phone do that, which is what we're doing, right? Like we just go, you just like, I don't need a DJ to literally just play songs. I don't need you to just, if I can kind of trust my algo, that's AI, right? So if you're doing like navigation apps, right? Like your Waze, Google Maps, that's AI. Spell check, autocorrect, AI. Predictive text, when you're writing, it says, oh, did you mean to say that? Or do you want to finish your sentences? That's AI. It's just teaching in the same way where we can finish each other's sentences.
Period.
AI does that too, right? It's just teaching a machine or a program how to do something a person would do.
And you still need a human for that.
Well, it has to learn what humans would have done to know what to tell a human to do.
Okay.
Or to do a thing. So if we didn't already have DJs picking songs, if we didn't have the idea in our head of what song should follow the next song, then there wouldn't be the ability for the AI to do that.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So that's like the basic we've all seen now. We all have dealt with like filters, right? Instagram filters.
Those crazy filters on there. They're just.
But even like,
no, I love good filters.
but that's AI. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It has to map to your face and figure out how
and then they have the glitter and everything. Like I love it. Okay.
That is doing something a human would do because a human might have made a thing, but that would be like so many hours, so much effort, right? That's why we have the color grading. Like you can color grade. Like I color graded this individually. I did all the little levers myself, but you could just slap a filter, and that's okay. Right? If you want black and white, instead of having to go through and desaturate and all that stuff, you could just slap on a filter. So it just makes it like the basic idea of AI. It is a way for machines to do something. And then it's also what you have like the machine learning piece, which is basically like training your algorithm. Sometimes you have a device to do that. So obviously your phone, right? Sometimes you can train something that moves to do things in the same way that you are training the program, because the program is training the thing. Make sense? Okay. Wow. Making sure. Then there's more general use and more narrow purpose, right? Okay. So for example, like a Roomba does have a form of an AI in it to be able to detect a mess, know where to go, map out, figure out if it can push past a hard thing or if it's just turn the corner, right? Okay. Like that's an AI in there. It's certain kinds of programs that teaches it. Oh, I feel resistance. Is it just fabric and do I just push through it? Oh, I just went from a rug to the floor. Should I change the way I, do my selection and turn off the brush? That's AI. Okay. That's narrow. It's very narrow. Versus, really broad is like, obviously ChatGPT is reasonably broad.
Yes, I love ChatGPT. Shout out to them.
But see, even with that, it only can do so much. Right? Yes. I mean, now it's gotten more features. So now it can talk. Now it can listen to audio. Has become more broad. So that's more generic. And if you notice, the narrow kind of AIs can run a little more independently.
Like what? What else?
Like the algorithms, right? Okay. It's a narrow kind of AI.
Okay.
Right? It's independent. You don't have to code it. You don't have to teach it what to do. Your spell check is relatively independent. Okay. Even when you spell words, it kind of figures out like, oh, what's the word? You don't have to guide it a little bit by letting it know, like, I like to cuss, so it's not ducking. Thank you very much. But other than that, it's really like it runs in itself. Okay. Right? It doesn't have to be told when to start and stop. It just is always there because it's a very narrow focus. The more broad stuff like ChatGPT, you have to actually direct it every step of the way because it can do so much. Does that make sense? All right.
I got you, bro.
So like if you ever see like those how it's made videos, these like, factories, AI is like that. Like you have the machine that just does like all it does is punch holes. So that's why it can run. And you have an assembly line of like a whole bunch of machines doing really basic things. That's how you go from powders and scrap metal to a can of of milk, right? Like that's how you get there. So in the same way, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but that's how you get to like automations. And we start making like entire workflows.
Okay.
Workflows is taking a whole bunch of narrow focused AI tools, putting them in order in a stack. If then that, if that, then that. And then you just stack them all together and it creates a whole workflow or a whole automation.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Anybody can use it, like for work, school, anything?
I mean, for like, we all see on social media, comment newsletter to sign to my newsletter. Comment down below, comment this, and then you'll get that. Like, how does that work? That's AI. But it's a very narrow automation.
Okay.
Right? Because it's just, okay, if it sees this word, then it triggers the next automation, which is maybe to give you a link or ask you for your email. Right? And then after you get it, maybe it ends there, or maybe it does one more thing, or maybe it does another.
Whatever you train it to do.
Whatever you see what I'm talking about. That and if you know this thing, that is not taking. Somebody needs a job to do that. Trying to get you
want to make it your job
to do that. Yeah, to do that.
To deal with
so
AI.
That is the job. The idea is that it's every day. It's in all your applications. Technically, AI actually started back in the 1940s.
That's very strange. I think AI went back.
It went back to the 1940s. I have met 80-year-olds.
They were talking about AI.
80-year-olds who spent 20 years building AI programs back in the 80s. Because you didn't realize, again, spell check, AI. We've always had like spell check for the longest time. Like that little paperclip in Microsoft Word.
Okay.
That was AI.
I see.
The whole time.
I see.
It's just that it couldn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
So you didn't think about it because it was.
Yeah.
Right? Once you start training something to filter, to screen, anything that a person would have been doing, but it's something that's really basic and straightforward. Like it's kind of like if you can write SOPs, if you can write, this is the operating procedure, do this, then that, do this and that. If you know how to write directions, then you can probably train something to do that.
A learning machine. Get that.
For the most part, it's like really technical and straightforward. Like obviously, but even like there's AIs that do podcasts. Like there's AIs where it's like if you've used Notebook LM, notebooklm.google.com.
Okay, shout out to them.
Then you got a way to get it to make a podcast for you. It's like, oh my gosh, how can I make a podcast? Well, what are the steps? Right? So
steps, what are you trying to do? What are you asking it for it to do?
You got it. Like that's practical tools, right? Like that's something, for example, every Gmail account comes with that. Every Google Workspace comes with that. So we use Google Workspace.
Yes.
So we have Notebook LM, but all of my Gmail accounts have Notebook LM. So if you're wondering, like, okay, so if it only could do all these things, how is it when I put my little book in there or I put my YouTube video in there and now it's making a podcast? Well, it has its own instructions that you don't see. So when you just tell it to generate, it'll just it goes into its own instructions. You can add instructions. You can say, focus on this, focus on that. Now, what does it do? AI reads what you gave it. It creates the knowledge of what you gave it to look at. Then it assigns roles, like how we're doing right now.
Also, like, so I've used these software, and I do realize that it's the way you have to really prompt these, directions for it to fully like understand what you're really going for. And I feel like that can come off a little tricky.
So like AI does not have context or subtext. It has text.
Okay. That's it. That's all.
It has text. Okay. That's it. AI has no context.
Yeah.
It has no subtext. It does not know the difference between when it doesn't have that. Okay, now it's been trained to have some context and subtext like that's super broad because it's just being given to people. But how you're using it or how I'm using it, like you know what you want. I know what I want. Now I know, like, if I say to you, like, girl, we're gonna go out tomorrow night. Say Friday, so we're gonna go out tonight. We're gonna hit the bar, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna be outside. We're black. All I have to say, you get You don't need any more context or subtext. I gave you enough.
I know. We outside. That's all I need. We outside.
But if I was going to go to an image generator and I was going to say, take an image of Shall and I, and when I say that's the thing, we're going to take a picture of two of us going out wearing all black. We're going to go to the bar and have fun. That's not really enough context.
More. They need more.
That's not. It doesn't get the subtext. It doesn't get that we are sisters in DC, where the bottlers be out with the pockets full grown. You know what I'm saying? Like they doesn't understand that. We know that. It doesn't understand your style, my style. So I gotta say, if you got a picture of us, I still gotta say, put Shell in a black outfit with some tight pants and some high heels and stuff. Put Jessica in an outfit where she's wearing a dress. Super conservative. Thank you. Right? That she's got her heels on and she's gonna have all jewelry. I have to put that in there. Okay. I have to tell it that context. Gotta go is not gonna. Right. I have to say, put it in a high end, like rooftop lounge. That's DC, right? Period. But if I just say a bar,
they're not going to know what you're talking about.
And the easy way to test that if you're using image generator is exactly that. Tell it, image of a bar. They just say image of a bar Friday night. Okay. A bar in Washington, D.C. Friday night. Downtown D.C. luxury upscale rooftop lounge Friday night. That's it. So then keep adding. It's not just adding words. It's adding context because it does not have subtext and it will not ever get subtext. Yeah. We can guess. I could cook. If I call you, I'm like, go to the. Then you already can tell. Oh, I think she's been through something. I think I need to pull out that freaking dress. Yeah. Get the vibe. Which I'm like, girl, we going out tonight. Get your stuff. We got a new job. I got this check. We're going out.
Celebration.
You understand?
We link up.
Or if it's like, yo, my homegirl just graduated. She got her master's. We're gonna go celebrate.
Black excellence.
You know what I'm saying? That's the context I can give you.
Yes.
You get it.
I get that.
The AI will not get that.
We gotta keep going into that.
Because if we tell it, graduation party, I was gonna put caps and gowns, and like we're not doing that. This is the after party.
Yeah,
we get that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm calling you without the family, so I'm calling to get drunk. Like, let's go. Period.
So it's about understanding how it can adjust because it doesn't have context, it doesn't have subtext, it only has the data set. So what does that mean? Like which program to use, right? So we mentioned Notebook LM, which is great. There's a paid program called ULearn that does something very similar. I think it's better for college students, right? Because it's designed for college students.
So is it a student discount for that? Do they get student discount?
No, they have it. It's for students. Of course, they're gonna pay for it. But it's affordable. I think it's affordable for a student to use. Okay, good. The difference between ULearn and Notebook is that ULearn can live. Okay. So you can be in the class, filming and reporting in the moment. It gives you notes and transcripts and all that stuff in the moment. Okay. Whereas Notebook, you have to take something already written out.
Yes. Right. Gotta find the resources online.
You see what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So that's about like context, subtext, how to use, when to use, who's the user, and one important thing is. All right, we are back. So let's talk about, we left off talking about intellectual curiosity. Yes. Right. And so, and of course you started out with the most common misconception, which is that AI is going to come for our jobs. It's not going to do that. Okay. But a common issue that I've seen businesses have when discussing bringing in AI is, well, what do I do with my people? Mm-hmm. They're concerned like, hey, I've got, if I automate out all of my phones, then what is Julie going to do, who used to be my receptionist? Mm-hmm. So one of those bigger things in how you deal with that, right, that fear of robots taking your job and then the impact on the job market is intellectual curiosity. What I mean by that is, people, what's more important to your team is that they all get along. Yes. So if, for example, just Julia, if Julia was your receptionist and everybody loves Julia, she's at the front desk, everybody sees her on her way into the office.
Smiling, she's always happy, excited. She's the ray of sunshine. What did you see?
Keep Julia. Mm-hmm. Maybe keep her even at the front. Because people just like seeing her over there. That's it. Right? Maybe she can work for accounting while still working at the front desk. Mm-hmm. Right? Because what department do you need? What do you do? Mm-hmm. Where can you train her to do a different task? Mm-hmm. So, for example, a gentleman who has a healthcare company doing physical training, he has exactly that problem. He's trying to kind of automate out his receptionist. He will probably cut down to maybe just 3 instead of 5. Mm-hmm. So what is it? What's going on in accounting? What is in the general back end operations? What's happening with admin? What's your marketing? Right? What does marketing look like for you guys? I was saying that to him. It's like maybe she could be the performance efficiency expert. That's what we offer. Obviously, that's what we do in performance efficiency work and bringing AI into your business. But we're not cheap. We are a 6-figure, 7-figure, rarely even a 5-figure deal kind of company when it comes to that piece, the performance efficiency to the next level, right? Because it's one thing for me to come in and just like use this tool, use it this way, and it will improve performance efficiency. But that's like kind of simple, lower level consulting.
Yeah.
Very straightforward. Sure, I can do that for a couple $1,000s. That's not an issue. Yeah. But when you really want that real,
you need to go in and actually understand what you're doing.
And so like full business, that's at least 80,000, 100,000, 200,000. Then going to size of your company, multi-million-dollar kind of a deal. So how? Right. So how does a company that's struggling with their margins as it is afford that? You don't. But what you can do is take that gal who was making $50,000 a year to be your receptionist, who just watched you automate out her job.
Okay.
And say, Julia, why don't you go get trained by these people? And it might only cost $30,000 for us to train her to be your performance efficiency expert. And now her job is just to know she already knows your company, she knows your people. Her job is to go around. Or maybe make her a freaking physical therapist. Intellectual curiosity. Like, you're not gonna, getting a vacuum didn't remove the janitor.
No.
It gave the janitor the job of vacuuming.
It just helped them out a little bit.
Instead of sweeping the floor, they vacuumed. A mop does not just got them off of the floor, scrubbing the floors. They're still mopping. So sometimes that job isn't really gonna go nowhere anyways.
Yeah.
It's just more work to be done.
Okay. You got to work smart, not hard.
I mean, just like with you. For me, you're doing mostly marketing-based stuff. You put this whole podcast together yourself.
Period.
Editing it yourself, posting it yourself, doing blogs and newsletters and content.
Shout out to me.
But how did that become a one-woman job? Because we're using tools. Right? Obviously, with 2 or 3 people, we could do more. But the point is, if it was the case that you were, I had automated out your position before, and then we'll shift you in there.
Yeah.
So I think as a lot of people is on focusing on how like the mop or the vacuum to the janitor, where AI is more of a tool for your team to use instead of just a replacement for them. Because I really what that comes down to is your ethical obligations and what's your AI based policy? What's your AI governance policy? What are your moral views in regards to AI, how it's being used, and how do you?
I am team AI. No shade, I'm there. I don't know, because I feel like it's still more learning I need to do. Like, it's still more softwares I need to get into because, I'm still at the basic ones like ChatGPT and Gemini. But I do know it's more softwares. And, like I said, for me doing it, my experience on how I do it and what I use it for is very helpful. Like, it comes in handy. Like if I need a quick, well, let me ask this real quick. Let me jot something down, get a research paper going, just little minor things. Yeah, like it comes in handy. So like it gets the job done. I will say that, and definitely in a great timely manner because say you got a deadline. It's like I can't come up with this. I can't find this research. Let me just go into an AI software, jot this down really quickly. So I can keep the ball rolling. So that way, that's done. Let me move on to the next tab. Let me go to the next piece. So it's helpful. And I appreciate it.
And see, this is a thing that I think a lot of people don't get, right? Like we're saying, it's not going to replace people. I mean, sure, there are things to consider, and it's more than we can talk about today on this one pod. We're definitely going to do more episodes talking about the ethical considerations of AI. So, I mean, things you got to think about, of course, is, are there biases? Because humans are biased.
For sure.
Humans made the program, so humans made the program prejudiced.
I think it's more negative, like people just have towards it instead of actually doing their own research, because it's easy to get opinion from somebody else. Well, listen to somebody else's opinion and go off of what they're saying rather than doing your own research.
Right.
So, I think that's the real issue that people are having, listening to the negative and not actually focus on the positive and using it and incorporating in what they're doing and how it can help them and benefit them. So.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I'll definitely say to people as you look at the kind of the governance and how to make sure it's being used for good, right? Obviously, you as a company, you got to have like a privacy policy, right? You should be transparent. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say to companies, especially when you're looking at adoption, making sure that you be really upfront with your customers, with your employees, with your partners, your investors. If you got, you know what I mean, bankers, your funders, people who are funding you, loaning you money, you have to be extremely transparent with everybody. Because when someone talked about it, you know, they made a great comparison. If you remember the movie Office Space, the Bobs.
Love Office Space.
People are scared.
Classic. I love that movie.
Right? I love Office Space. So people look at AI consultants like the Bobs. We're gonna come in, we're gonna review everybody, you know, a merger's coming, and everyone's gonna get fired. And then that one jerk who nobody can stand actually gets the promotion. Maybe.
But are you talking about
the Bobs? Remember in Office Space when the dude, the guy. Remember he ended up getting the promotion when he walked in like, I don't care about nothing. Yeah. They were like you.
Yeah. My man was just telling everything what was going on.
Because you should. Yeah. But that's what I say and what I found with one company, and I'm using obviously fake names here to protect privacy, but there was one company where they basically had that issue, right? They automated out a couple of jobs and they were going to move people around. And I implored upon them, like, I need you to have HR, not me, HR, interview everyone. And I need it to be like, if you gotta be little, like, have a drink, you know, have a shot so they can talk, whatever it takes. I do mean that. Because what they found out when they did that is it wasn't that Julia didn't get along with Tim in accounting. No one liked Tim in accounting. Everyone in accounting hated Tim, but he was the boss. And Tim gets along with operations. And operations and Tim were tight. Well, I was like, so what makes it a lot more sense is to just move Tim to operations. Let him use his financial knowledge. Go get him an agile training. Go get him and while we're at it, obviously some AI training, right? Go move Tim over there because they had a job opening in operations. So they needed another project manager. I'm like, go move Tim to project management, get him some training. And then Julia will go to accounting. Then we'll look at the accounting department in a couple months and see if anybody needs a promotion. Turned out nobody needed a promotion.
They just needed to move Tim.
They got to get rid of Tim.
Sorry, Timothy.
And here's the thing. Tim didn't get fired. No. Tim got a promotion. Actually. So did Julia. This Julia gal, right?
Thank you.
She got a promotion for all intents and purposes because the position that she was making a little less than 50 grand. The pay was about to be 90 to 100 was their range. They were able to train her, send her to get trained, and move her, and she was happy to take 80. Because for her, that's a huge pay raise. Huge pay raise.
Huge jump.
Cost the company, including the bump to her salary and the training, about 50 grand. We'd be like, oh, that's a lot. Not if you compare to having HR actually go out and recruit, the effort it takes for the team to constantly interview, onboard, train somebody, take months. That is 6 months of time at least.
When you could have gave it to somebody that's already there.
You see what I'm saying?
Ins and outs.
6 months of training at least of time being spent. It would have cost an average of $150,000 to $50,000 to hire a $90,000, employee, and then it costs. Because you include just that 1 year salary and also recruiting costs. You didn't even add the actual cost of the employee, which were already going to be absorbed, right? But so for them, it's like you got to pay her slightly less than you would have paid a new person. She's happy to take it. She's getting a raise. She's moving up. She's getting more valuable work skills. You have a team that's more cohesive. Operations is operating better. Same thing for them. Instead of paying $250 to a new PM, he went from, I think, like 150, just shy of 200, which is great. No, he's not complaining.
Okay.
No one's complaining. He doesn't even care that he's like the lowest paid person in his little department now because he's with his bros and he's getting more money.
getting his ends. That's all that matters. Get your ends.
So think about for that company. You're trying to hire somebody that would have cost between 200 and 250. That would have cost you 300 plus to have per year. Instead, you've got somebody who's making 180. So they're costing you about 250 per year. That's a huge saving in and of itself. Again, you've improved your team. They're more cohesive. You don't have to spend all this time. Both of these people took about 3 months to get ready and move. 2 positions versus 6 months or more each position.
6.
And that was just using AI to automate out really lower level tasks. So it's about how do you have a good sense of accountability? How are you responsible? How are you communicating? It's kind of like what you said earlier, right? That if you don't know how to talk to these machines, it's not just the machine, but you know how to talk to your people. Because we get along. We work together. Period. There might be people who are more educated or more experienced, and that's fine. But we can gel. That's important. So I want to leave you guys with one little thought for those of you who are thinking about starting AI. Maybe we convinced you, right? You listen to our pie, like, okay, I'll try it. What should I do?
Yes.
Well, first, I always like to say, if you want to follow us, look for JWM Concepts. That's the official LLC name. So look for JWM Concepts LLC. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Jessica Winter Martin with a Y, Jessica YNTER Martin. I am on mostly best place for the business stuff will be LinkedIn. The Black Girl in AI brand, of course, is also on LinkedIn, as well as on Instagram, all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff, all that. YouTube, of course, if you're catching this.
Thank you.
So that's a good way to keep up with us. Signing up for our newsletter, which we make those kinds of links available pretty much everywhere, including on our website, jwmconceptsllc.com. But the last thing I want to give you guys is how to stay informed and updated without getting overwhelmed and learning about AI if you're ready to do it. So one, of course, use the free stuff that's already available. So the way you do that,
free.
Set aside 2 to 4 hours per week just to play around, just to tinker. You can figure out how much time that is, but I recommend 4 hours. Setting aside a 4-hour block, like a good Friday afternoon, Sunday, lazy Sunday activity.
Even a Wednesday, it's okay. Doing it in the middle of the week.
Even Wednesday is good too. I also like to recommend it if you have a hard event right afterwards. What I mean by that is, if your children have a soccer game and you must be there at 6 o'clock for that soccer game, then put it that day, because you can't get overwhelmed and stay too long. That's one thing where people get lost in the sauce and you get turned off from AI because I tried it in 8 hours went by. I know Reddit can be like that. Internet can be like that.
Yes.
So try to pick a time where you got something else to do afterwards, so you don't
spend too much time.
2 to 4 hours. Next,
get overwhelming.
Set aside a budget of about $200 per month maximum when you're brand new to AI. That's gonna that gets you $10, $20 per month subscriptions. That's more than enough. Okay. ChatGPT 20. You can get a free version, obviously. You get free, but then you get $20 per month. Perplexity, $20 per month. Claude, $20 per month. Midjourney, the image generator, as $30 per month. The plan you should use. A lot of these programs are going to be that $20 to $30, maybe $40 a month cost. So by setting aside a $200 a month budget, gives you some play time. I say 2 months to use or not use a program before removing it or upgrading it. So what I mean by that is, if you signed up for chat and you got the paid version and you find, it's June and you bought it in June and now it's August and you haven't looked at it in 2 weeks, you probably don't need to keep paying for that.
Yeah.
But if you find that by August you can't go a day without it, then definitely keep that subscription. Maybe even upgrade it if you want to. Just use it. If you're not using it, some of these programs, they have free tiers, so it's not that big of a deal if you hopefully fall off. But that way, you'll get an idea of what you're going to use, when you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, how to invest.
Absolutely.
Use the AI that's already in what you're using. So what I mean by that is, not denigrate OpenAI and ChatGPT, but if you, like a business person like we are, we use Google Workspace. So it was like a $7 per month upgrade to get the AI upgrade. It makes a lot of sense just to do that instead of $20 for chat. Chat has some features that Gemini doesn't have. That's fine. I personally have bought chat, and after a week, find myself not using it as much as the other ones, which is why I don't buy it anymore. I know lots of people who use chat every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
do what works for you.
Do what works for you. So I want to leave you guys with that to make sure you maintain intellectual curiosity. AI is not coming for you. Mm-mm. Okay. Make sure you have policies if you think about implementing it, or even if you're using it in your personal life. Mm-hmm. Just be a little transparent. Mm-hmm. Let people know there's a possibility that I use AI to do that. And everybody's going to feel better. But trust and believe, these bots are not coming for you. Mm-mm. And if they replace what you do, then maybe you need to do something else.
That's all. Just there's other things that you can do. It's other things that you can learn, other hobbies, other things. It's like, oh, well, I was doing receptionist. Now I want to learn about operations. It's okay.
If you're going to be an artist, literally, maybe you're just going to build tables for a living. Like, I don't know where you're going to go. But understand that the farmers that lost their jobs when tractors were invented found something to do. The scribes that lost their jobs when the printing press was invented found something to do.
See, it's not something else to do, and it's okay.
Look, we got email and we still got postman dropping off boxes. Post it and go nowhere, even though we got email. In fact, we ship more stuff. We ship more than we used to before when we had to write letters. Isn't that crazy? Remember writing letters?
What is that? No.
These kids these days don't even know nothing about stamps. So leave you guys with that.
Oh my God. Like, what is a letter?
Because when do you need it?
What is a stamp?
But think about that. Like, when's the last time you got a handwritten letter? An email, an envelope that handwritten, and you opened it up?
Honestly, last time you seen cursive writing, like nobody...
And don't you feel special though? I mean, like my little outfit, this was handmade in Nigeria. I felt special.
Period.
I'm not denigrating your t-shirt, but I'm saying, like, I'm not. But you see what I'm getting at? Like, it's the effort. We've had machines making fabric and making clothes for almost 200 years now, since like the 1790s, 1780s, when the first part of the Industrial Revolution came, and we got the first kind of weaving machines. So like, this is not, we still buy handmade clothing. Relax. I got into AI because I'm a painter. These are my paintings. For those who are watching, those who are listening, like, what are you talking about? But like, I started using AI because I paint, and I didn't stop painting because